All right, guys, we are back. Little technical difficulty there. Apparently, no sound was coming out from my end. Appears to be working now. I can't promise you what you're hearing on your end, but hopefully it's a lot better. So let me just start this over. You're on CHL Mailtime. This is episode 2, where we take calls, messages, tweets, comments, all kinds of stuff like that to basically bring you live answers to all these burning questions that you guys have in your mind. Before we get to our first question, let me just go ahead and plug a few of the things we have going on around League Gaming in the media department. First of all, we have the LG Snapshot. That's Tuesday night's 10 p.m. show where we break down topics from the NHL, AHL, and CHL, hosted by F5 Penguin. Back in the CHL, we have Around the CHL, which airs every Sunday night, and it allows us to talk about some of the topics that are going on in the league, whether it be something that's a hot topic, whether we have some outstanding players. We talk about some of the successful teams, some of the less successful teams, how to fix those teams, our opinions on those teams, all kinds of crazy stuff. Don't forget, we also have written power rankings every Sunday where we break down all the teams from both the Q and the WHL in an attempt to break down who's hot, who's not, what's going on, what's wrong, and all that. New feature that debuted last week would be the matchups of the week. We had the WHL matchup and the QMJ matchup. With all that, it was basically just a breakdown of one of the key matchups. Obviously, people disagreed with that matchup, but that's okay because that's what I produce here is stuff for people to disagree with. That's just the way things work. So yeah, if you want to get interactive with this show, feel free to use the hashtag on Twitter with CHL Mailtime, all one word. I'll be checking that periodically throughout the show. We'll be able to essentially get to as many as we can. However, there are going to be things that we do miss. You can also send me a PM which with some questions and stuff like that, where I will try to do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. But the primary way to contact the show is the CHL Mailtime phone number, and that's 774-260-5411. This isn't my personal phone number, so don't worry about me answering it. Don't try to send me dirty pictures late at night because you're not going to be talking to anybody like that. If you want to call, you dial the number 774-260-5411. When you call the number, you're basically going to hear me on the other end with a voicemail greeting asking you to leave a message. In that message, just try to keep it clean. Make sure you identify yourself. Don't just call up and say, hey, it's me, because I don't know who me is. Very bad with voices, but it's just the way it goes. So call, leave a message. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. You can ask anything you want as long as you keep it semi-clean. We'll get it played on air. When we answer questions, I do my best to give you guys the most accurate and up-to-date information. However, there are times when the information on the website that I can see is inaccurate, and that's up to you guys to fix as GMs, AGMs, and people that are inputting stats. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and, before we get to our first question, I've been asked by Tina45 Reaper to, excuse me, remind you guys of the top 10, the weekly top 10. We have every Saturday or every other Saturday, I believe it's going right now, there's a top 10 video, play of the week. Basically, what you do is you go to this thread, and they'll show you how to edit, upload, and submit your clips. Once your clips are submitted, the media team basically breaks down the top 10. They pick the top 10, and they commentate the top 10 all the way through. So if you're interested in getting involved with that or just watching the video, stay tuned for the League Gaming Top 10 bi-weekly video where you can see the biggest plays and the most spectacular highlights that have been submitted through the forum. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our first question, and we will start it off here.
The Blazers are overrated. From the Solars, X43. I play for the Rebels. Blazers are overrated. And tell me, why don't any of their players get called up? Please let me know. Once again, Solars, X43. Best goalie in the league. Rebels for the championship, baby. Goodbye.
All right, that was our first one from the night, and obviously they have an issue with the Blazers. I believe that was Stolar's 43. It was kind of hard. Try to speak clearly when you guys do call in. Saying he's the best goalie in the league, that's kind of a bold statement. He's got 11 games played, and he's gone 7-4 with a 2.56 goals against and an 85.4% save percentage. As far as being best goalie in the league, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but all you have to do is prove me wrong by producing some more stats. His question, though, is why do we have all of this non-call-ups from Kamloops? Well, it's kind of a dicey situation because I cannot speak on, maybe people in Kamloops aren't wanted by their AHL teams. I'm sure that's not the case. However, some of these players may not be able to play a 9:30, 10:30 game as opposed to 8:30 and 9:30. People's personal schedules do tend to get in the way, as does mine sometimes, so I can't say that I'm completely not guilty of that. However, and now not just with Kamloops, there has been suspicion of members in the league just not wanting to go to the AHL because they feel that they dominate here in the CHL. To me, my opinion on that is a piss-poor attitude, and I believe it needs to change league-wide. If your goal is not to make it to an NHL roster and hold that Stanley Cup, that virtual Stanley Cup here at League Gaming, you are wrong. You're playing for the wrong reasons. If you're here to play with friends, sure, go play club, go play some drop-ins, go play with people that use cheesy tactics in order to get the wins. If you want to come here, be a piece of a team that's going to win, that's great. But the only thing you're going to win here in the CHL is the Memorial Cup. And as great as the Memorial Cup sounds right now, it's no Stanley Cup. It's no Calder Cup. It's something we need to do. We need to look at, I think, a little bit closer league-wide as to the ability to choose your call-up or not, if it's optional. I feel it shouldn't be optional, but at the same time, there are circumstances, and we do not want to alienate people from the league by saying, "Oh, well, sorry, you can't play that game, so you can't play at all." So, appreciate the question. However, it is still a good question, and maybe somebody else has an opinion. Feel free to call in and leave a message on what your opinion is. Still getting more messages saying my audio is not working. I really hope it is. I'd be really disappointed. We got my boy Sev on the other end kind of doing a little sound check thing going on. But I'm not sure exactly what's working, what's not. Saying here I got audio going through. Obviously, I'm on a different little bit of the way I look at things. Let's see what I can do here. Hopefully this is working. If this is not working, I'm going to be highly disappointed. I do everything the same way every time, and it hasn't given me too many problems, at least not a problem like this. So that's not fair to you guys, and it's definitely not fun for me to. All right. We do have confirmation from 709 that people can hear on the live, so hopefully you guys are listening, enjoying, and things like that. We're going to move on to our next question. Our next question was a write-in question, and this is coming from last week's contributor of the night, White Silence. I'd have to look at where he's playing now, but he constantly calling in, constantly having a good time. And his question is Nettie Grandpa, would Nettie Grandpa be the father of time or the Gordie Howe of the LGCHL? If not, who is the oldest player in the CHL? Well, I'm not sure. I don't have a list of how old everybody is, but I know Nutty Grandpa is 48 years old. Um, I think he might be closer to 58. I think he might be just lying because he feels really old here at LG. But he tells me 48, and little special shout out, congratulations. He just found out he is expecting a grandchild from his daughter. So congratulations to Nutty Grandpa to be a grandpa. Um, what I like about Nutty, if you guys haven't played with Nutty or talked to Nutty, Nutty will be the first to tell you he's not the greatest defenseman in the league. He's not the greatest hockey player in the league, but he manages his team probably better than most. He makes it a fun place to play. He keeps things organized. He allows players in the training camp to get a chance. He plays with all his training camp guys at least once if they were around. He's always tweaking lines and making trades and making moves, but he's never doing it for personal gain. He's doing this for the love of internet hockey. He's a big-time fantasy sports player, fantasy baseball, fantasy football, all that stuff. So this is just like another thing for him to do, is come in, manage this team, and do what it is that he does. So Nutty Grandpa, I think he's the oldest in the league. Anybody listening, if you know somebody that is older than 48 in the league, feel free to let us know. I'd find that be a very interesting fact. So, all right, our next question's back on the phone line. We have
Yo, Powder P, it is cold as life, Ray D for the Portland Winterhawks. My question for you is, do you think all the bickering and nonsense in the forums is good for the league by boosting things to read about and things to chirp about? Or do you think it's a negative to newer players that might not know everyone so closely? And do you think that they might view it as kind of lame and make us look less professional than we are, or than we're striving to be? That's my question. Have a good night. Peace.
all right. That was cold as life, defenseman for the Portland Winterhawks. Solid defenseman, I might add. Well, we've talked about this on other shows. I think it was LG Snapshot. It might have been this week, could have been last week. Not 100% sure. But obviously, we do have people on the website that enjoy chirping, enjoy starting drama, and enjoy setting the fire to get good reactions out of a lot of people. We have various threads, whether they're just chirps, whether they're in questions, whatever may have you. But when you have this many people on one website in a forum-based, you're going to have questions like this. Yes, it can be very immature and unprofessional, if you will. However, I don't really know how professional the internet can actually get. But I think it can also be a positive for the league as long as everybody stays within bounds. When people are chirping others, the only thing you should ever be attacking is gameplay and stats and records. You should never, call someone's personal character out or say something along the lines of just stuff that's attacking their personal character. Either A, you probably don't know them, but even if you do know them and you're playing online gaming with them, then you probably aren't going to be talking bad about them. So attacking people's personal characters, yeah, that's a no-go. One, it's not cool. Two, a lot of times it's breaking rules. But I don't think it's necessarily bad for the league, because when you have these arguments, debates, or just straight up forum brawls, you'll have you spark rivalries and set up the next matchup for when you two meet on the ice to be one of the most epic matchups of the week, something that you anticipate. It's something that pro athletes go through when, one player calls out another. It doesn't happen as publicly as it does here at LG, but it does happen. And then when they go out on the ice the next time, the bad blood is there, and it usually, almost always, sparks for a great matchup, and everybody's watching. So when you guys do that, trust me, you call out, let's just say, Nuke Freeman. Everybody loves Nuke Freeman. Came in chirping on how good he was in 3 CHL games. Yeah, and he had a great little 1-week run, and then went up to the AHL, so I stopped caring because he doesn't play in my league. And you know what? Power to you for getting called up. But when you do that, that means everyone's gunning for you. For the rest of the time you're here at LG, people are going to be clicking on your games to see how well you did or how bad you did. And anytime you did bad, you're going to get called out. It's not a bad thing. It's not a great thing, but there are positives that do come out of the chirping threads and all that smack talking. Our next question, we're going to go back to a private message from White Silence. This guy's always messaging me. Who is the one player that needs to step up on their team the most in the WHL and then in the QMJHL? For the WHL, I don't have a solid pick. If I had to pick someone, it'd probably be Quantum Big Mac. He's an AGM goalie, so he's going to be on the roster no matter what. And with a team like Brandon Wheat Kings, you have no reason to not to win games. Either you got to make moves as the AGM and fix the defense in front of you, or you might want to revisit your player build and figure out ways to stop pucks from going in that net. So far this season, Quantum Big Mac has, let's get his numbers here. He's got 12 games. He's 5-8 with a 4.75 goals against and a 67 save percentage. Yeah, you're probably saying, oh, there's goalies way worse than that. You're right, there are. However, I know Quantum Big Mac can play, and I know that his ability on the ice is far above what his stats are showing right now. If we get a big push out of Quantum Big Mac, it's going to be a scary team in Brandon. So in the WHL, it's got to be Quantum Big Mac. But over in the Q, it's going to be the Uncle Buck, center for the Drummondville Voltigeurs. He's 1-3-2 on the season. He's got 8 points with 1 goal, 7 assists, a -10, shooting 7.7%, 6 PIMs. Now, you're probably like, well, there's probably people worse than that. You're right. There are people worse than the Uncle Buck. However, you also have his last season where he also played for Drummondville, and he went an astounding 10-1 with 31 points. Played 11 games and had 31 points. That's just under 3 points a game, and he had a plus 13 or plus 18 on the season. The only time he lost was in the Memorial Cup to Kamloops. So, I mean, it's an outstanding record, and he's just one of those guys that he has the ability. They just got to find a way to put the talent around him and get the chemistry going. So Quantum Big Mac and the Uncle Buck, the two players that definitely need to step up in order to really make a difference on their teams. All right, back to the voice line. We got another question. This one's my favorite question of the week. It's going back to last week's episode of Around the CHL. We made some comments on trades that were made, winners and losers of those trades, and the loser of that trade, as we commented, decided he was going to give us a call.
Yes, this is Mantha, L8L, for the Red Deer Rebels. I play right wing. I'd like to talk about what you said on your radio show, how it was a bad trade between Moose Jaw and Red Deer. I'd like you to know that in my first game, I had 4 goals on 6 shots. I mean, if you look at those stats, I don't think it was that bad of a trade, and I'd like you to re-overlook it on your next episode. All right, bye.
All right, so you're upset that we called your trade the losing trade of the week and that it was a bad pickup for Red Deer and things like that. The problem with that is you played one game and you jumped on that phone line so quick. That call came in, let's see, I get a timestamp on it. Within an hour of that game being over. You know, congratulations on the great win. You beat the Lethbridge Hurricanes 7-3. You had 4 points, +2 on 4 goals on 6 shots. Awesome numbers. The following night, you went and lost 7-3 to Medicine Hat. I wish you had called me after that one because obviously you wouldn't have been so happy. And then in your third game of the week, you beat the Victoria Royals 4-3 with 3 points. So you finished the week with 10 points. You know, awesome, good first week, solid numbers. But But as I said, don't take these things that we say personally into heart. These things are, you should use them one of two ways: in one ear, out the other, or that should spark you to try to play better the next time you're out there. Prove me wrong. Prove these so-called experts wrong. We don't have game film of everybody, but the reason why your trade was considered poor at the time was you had never played a game here at LG. So when we see a player being traded with solid numbers to a solid team, and then the other player has never played a game here at LG, all we can do is say what's going on here. So either he knew who you were over in Red Deer, or you just requested that trade. All right. Oh, Mantha just tweeted at me too. He said we are good with sound, I guess. So, but yeah, I just wanted to give that one a little bit of attention, because we don't sit here and attack you guys personally. We're attacking what we see on the website. If I had played with Mantha and I knew that he could play, sure, we may not have said that. The fact that he went 2-1 this week, had one great game, had one bad game, and then another good game, good for you, Mantha. We're happy to have you in the league. We hope you're listening now, which obviously you are. And you know what? Maybe we will reevaluate that trade, and we'll talk about some of the up-and-coming stars this week on Around the CHL. Other question is who are the dark horses on their teams? And it was directed as, I guess, my team, but I don't think our team has any dark horses. I think everybody that's on our roster plays their role, does their thing. If anything, we have a goalie by the name of Krejci46. He's a dark horse, but for justified reason. He played for me on my team last year over in Everett. He then got called up to the AHL, where he played, I think, for 1 week, and then he was sent down to the TC. However, his rights no longer existed anywhere in the CHL, and we couldn't find him. So therefore, he ended up back in the CHL bidding this year and was randomly assigned to a team in the queue. I can't remember who, and I told my GM as soon as I saw him on the list that he needs to come back to Spokane, and he's going to be a great addition to an already solid lineup. He's a young kid, definitely can stop a lot of the pucks. He gets a little chatty at times, but if we can get his goaltending going this season, he hasn't seen a whole lot of ice time yet, but that's just because he was gotten a little bit of trouble with his grades at school. So this is all stuff he's submitted to me, so this isn't me chirping his personal character. This is stuff he tells me all the time, but he's a good goalie, and once he's ready to go, we'll be I don't see the Spokane losing more games than they win. All right, new voicemail. This one I haven't heard yet. This one's just coming in now, fresh off the presses, if you will. Let's see what we got here.
Hi, my name is Morning Zero, and my last name is Spokane Keith. I was wondering when your name is going to be Powder My PP. If you can get back to us about that answer, it would be very much appreciated.
All right, so now we got a person from my team, which they disguised their voice, so I have no idea who it is. They didn't identify themselves. Let me just give a little breakdown of my name. It's Powder P. It comes from a nickname given to me by some friends a long time ago, and it stems from a Bone Thugs and Harmony song, Ghetto Cowboy. I play a little bit of the song, but I don't have that section queued up. So if you're interested on where Powder P comes from, go ahead and listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony's Ghetto Cowboy, and we can basically discuss furthermore about gamer tag changes that are possible for me. However, I like my gamer tag. It's been the same since I've gotten Xbox Live, and I don't see me changing it in the foreseeable future. All right, that's all the questions that we did get this week. Once again, the more questions we get, the longer this show goes. I can't make you guys call in, but you'll see me in your lobbies, in your game lobbies at 8:30, spamming the lobby with the phone number to call. It's 774-260-5411. We will constantly I constantly check them. I constantly listen to them. I try to edit out the ones that don't make sense, like this last one. However, the more content you guys provide, the more questions you provide me, the more answers I can provide you. The better this show gets is solely based off of you guys calling in, sending messages, hitting me up on Twitter and stuff like that. Don't forget, we have Around the CHL Sunday nights at 7:30, as well as LG Snapshot. And that's Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. And then, obviously, we have a lot of written media going on and stuff like that. And please, please do not forget to go check out the thread by Tino45 Reaper. He has the top 10 threads going on. It basically explains to you how to get your clips uploaded, submitted, and hopefully selected for the top 10 list. Awesome. That's one of my favorite shows on LG, and I hope to see some of these CHLers actually making it on those lists. So I have some more stuff to talk about because some of these plays are good, and I've seen some CHL plays this year that deserve to be on that list. You guys just got to get them uploaded as quick as possible. That way, when they're doing their edit, they can basically add it. So you've been listening to CHL Mail Time. I appreciate you guys listening. It's been a lot of fun, and don't forget, keep the calls coming.